Yo guys, what is up? Today I'm bringing you the VCU Reshirams versus the Cambuur Zygarden. It is the playoff match that never happened because I didn't face Pierre in the playoffs. And I'm gonna quickly... I have background music on, maybe I'm gonna edit it out, but I might forget about it. Today it's 6 minutes of Valentine's and I'm gonna be spending Valentine's with my bear. Hopefully they gonna sponsor me or something, because I have been promoting their beer a lot. Anyhow, I'm gonna bring you the game versus Pierre, the VCU Reshirams. It's my second time facing them, because earlier this season, if you all remember, if you don't, then that's your memory that's being awful, because I still remember. This was the first game in a while that I lost. And honestly, the game wasn't great because I completely choked away. And the play I made was terrible, and I have no excuse for that, except for it was terrible. It was just goddamn awful, and my head wasn't at the game at that point. But it means that I have to redeem myself, and luckily that's first year that's possible. The only loss that I really, out of all the league seasons and stuffs, the only loss I really regret is the one versus Pierre. So luckily I can redeem myself this time around. And I'm facing Pierre in the, at least I would have faced Pierre in the playoffs, but he didn't win versus Merc. So unfortunately it wasn't the finals, Pierre versus me. It was unfortunately me versus Merc, which also turned out to be a really good game. But yeah, I'm facing Pierre. Pierre, basically, he's a pretty good battler. Usually makes very safe plays, and I'm gonna use that against him this time around as well. The team I have, I will quickly link you the analysis, probably in the description below if you haven't seen that yet. If you don't want to watch that, or if you don't have the time to watch it, I will quickly go over the team that I brought. It's a mixed defensive finisher, mostly physically defensive, with Giga Drain, Sleep Powder, Knockoff and Synthesis. Assault with Raichu with Knockoff, Volt Switch, T-Bolt and Hidden Power Ice for all Embers potentially. Manaphy is Dual Schemes Manaphy with U-Turn and Heal Bell, Light Play. Scissor is Occaberry, Sword Stance, Bullet Punch, Bug Bite, Facade, Scissor. Skarmory is fully Spadef with Iron Head, Stealth Rocks, Roost and Toxic. And Alakazam's focuses with Signal Beam for potential Celebi, Psychic, Hidden Power Fire for the Escavalier, and I think T-Wave, but I'm not quite sure about that. That's my team. The team he's bringing Electabuzz, Mega Diancie, Suicune, Crobat, Escavalier and Druddigon. And if you watch the team analysis, you know that I kind of expect this whole team. I didn't expect him to bring something like Lander's Eye, which he did bring the first time around. And that's why I think Druddigon was... Well, I mean, Lander's Eye would still maybe have been a better option over Druddigon, because Druddigon isn't that scared in the team either. For his stealth, as a stealth rocker, maybe Diancie would have been the potential stealth rocker on his team that he could use. I don't know, so Druddigon wasn't the thing that I fully expected, but something I did expect, and I'm so happy to not see, which makes the game so much easier for me to deal with, is not Meloetta. And Meloetta was the thing that destroyed me first time around. I played it around terribly. Basically what happened, I switched out Venusaur into Skarmory. He predicted that, which was a very obvious easy prediction. Yeah, like I said, I didn't have my head around in the game that time. But when Skarmory died due to Thunderbolts, I think, if I remember correctly, I switched back in Mega Venusaur just to go for the knockoff. So that was a terrible play on my end, and that made me lose to a Mienshao, which was pretty strong because it outcode like everything on my team. But yeah, so that was awful. But this time around, I'm gonna redeem myself, and I am gonna lead off with Skarmory again, because his potential leads, in my opinion, at least I think he's gonna lead with something predicting my Venusaur lead to get a Mega Evolution as quickly as possible. So I predict him to lead off with something like Crobat or Druddigon. Yo, I'm back. Today is a new day. Today is a new day because yesterday people came upstairs after 3 minutes of recording. So I only have the introduction left, but that's a whole other story. I'm still on my bed because that's the most comfortable place for me to like record in. So I'll just do that because I want to be comfortable. Anyhow, the game. As you can see on the team, I'm facing an Electabuzz, Mega Diancie, Suicune, Crobat, Escavalier and Zygarden. I think I went over everything, so I'm just gonna go with the first turn. I lead off with Skarmory, as I predicted to lead off with the counter to Venusaur, as Venusaur was the first thing on my team, which was a very likely lead on my part as well, because I obviously would prefer it to have Mega evolved as quickly as possible, which is why I expect him to go with either Zygarden or Crobat as a lead, over something like in Unelectabuzz. We both opt to go for the status inducing moves for turn 1, and in the second turn we both go for the Stealth Rocks. I know that he's not going to bring in a DNC into a Skarmory anytime soon, since Skarmory beats it every single time, so he needs to have a lot of predictions right for me to not get up Stealth Rocks and not kill his DNC in the process as well, so obviously he doesn't want to risk that, and the safest play for both of us is to get Stealth Rocks up. I still have Heal Blendable on Manaphy, so Paralyze is not the worst thing. It does slow me down, and as you can see on this turn I do get paralyzed, but even then it's not the worst thing. Luckily for me he went into Suicune, because Suicune cannot touch me unless he is Crocoon, but like I said in my team analysis, Crocoon is not gonna win first in my team anytime soon, so I really doubt it's gonna be Crocoon, and it turns out he's not Crocoon. But yeah, you won't see it in a game. I mean, I haven't confirmed it in the game, but I doubt it's gonna be Crocoon. However, he goes for the Skull, probably scouting for what kind of set I am, if I'm Fizdef, Spidef. Turns out I'm Spidef, of course. Skull doesn't do anything, and I just, well, basically roost and get a Toxic off, and manage to get myself a comfortable amount of health to where I can take on the rest of his team. I switch out to the right, so he makes a nice prediction over the Psychic. I predicted him to make a prediction into, well, at least to make a play, because my Skarmory cannot touch an Electabuzz for days. However, I made the safest play possible, which was going to Raichu, as I gain momentum by that, even though well, he predicted me, so yeah. I go for a Volt Switch. He brings in Escavalier. That's great, because I need some chip damage on Escavalier. Turns out he's Assault Vest. For Alakazam to put in work, I needed to be at around the most preferred amount of health would be 54% or less, because the roll for Hidden Power Fire is 54.5 to 65.5%, or something along those lines. Might be up by 1%, but yeah, so it's currently at 58%. If Stealth Rocks are up at the time at switching in, then he will die to the Hidden Power Fire guaranteed. If Stealth Rocks are not up, as you can see, his Crobat here goes for the defog. If Stealth Rocks aren't up, then he will be, it will be a roll if I take him down with an Hidden Power Fire or not. On the turn he goes for the defog, I switch into Raichu, as Raichu is a nice switch in. I predict him to go for a potential hidden, well, a Heat Wave, maybe a U-turn or a defog. Defog would be the most logical play, and apparently I'm pulling off a Scarfed Raichu, as he switches out. He turns out that he has U-turn, but he doesn't wanna risk me being Scarfed. He obviously did have some damage on my Raichu, so he could have caulked what kind of set I am, but I make the same one mistake. I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I don't caulk first Electabuzz either. Turns out he is very much an Eviolite Electabuzz, but I didn't notice until later on in the game that he wasn't Scarfed, or he wasn't, well, some kind of different set than Eviolite, so yeah. Venusaur versus Electabuzz was the matchup. I go for the knockoff. If he wants to stay in, go for the Psychics, counter for the damage, then the Eviolite / the offensive item is knocked off. If he wants to switch in into his Crobat, that's fine too, because that's his more likely switch in. And I knock off a potential, what's the thing called? The potential safety goggles. So yeah, that's basically why I went for the knockoff. Right here he makes a nice prediction, predicting me to go for the Sleep Powder, going to the Overcoat and Escavalier. And he pivots around nicely, expecting me to go for the Hidden Power Fire or for the knockoff, by switching into Diancie. As I continuously make the safe plays, and that's mainly because I don't need to predict. I mean, I knew for a fact he was going to go out to Crobat right here, but if I make the misplay by well, going for the Sleep Powder and he stayed in, then I would have lost Venusaur very likely. So that's not a play I can afford to make, because Venusaur and Skarmory just to almost completely shut down his team, so that's why I want to keep them both healthy, as healthy as possible. And especially since Crobat cannot kill me with a Brave Bird, it does around 60% max depending on his investment. That's why I'm not really fearing the Crobat. I am willing to risk a damage to get Crobat to sleep, since I can synthesis up as long as he doesn't wake up turn 1. So he goes for the roost, I go for sleep powder. My Venusaur and my Skarmory both stay very healthy, and I don't lose anything from the matchups and from the pivoting from his team. So that's fantastic for me. I bring a Raichu basically to get more chip damage on his team, as he brings out Electabuzz to take the chip damage, to take the Volt Switch. Right here, it was the Venusaur versus Electabuzz. I knew that he more than likely was going to go for the Volt Switch, as Psychic is not going to do enough to a Venusaur, especially since I can just heal off the damage from his Electabuzz hits. So yeah. I go for the Hidden Power Ice. In hindsight I should have gone for the Eviolite, but here's where I just noticed that it was Eviolite. As with the Eviolite gone, I could have potentially Druid KO'd him, not done the cogs per se, but I think I could. Not sure. However, that doesn't happen. It's not too bad, because Kenji is going to Scissor, predicting him to go for the Psychic, and can go for the Bullet Punch to knock him out. Again, I'm making the safe play. I mean, the play into this or into for example, the Suicune were very likely, but I don't need to make very risky plays, as I still have a very healthy core of Venusaur and Skarmory in the back, and a nice win condition in Alakazam in the back, which is looking very strong at this point. Make a safe space, go into Skarmory. I don't expect him to make a fancy double switch or anything, and even if he does, then I can take most of his hits very nicely. The only hits that I don't take that well are the goes from Electabuzz, which he brings in on the turn that I go for his Stealth Rocks. So nice play on his part, bringing them in just before Stealth Rocks. Here I predict him to go for the T-Bolt, but since I'm Speed Skarmory, the T-Bolt only does 50%, maybe 55%. So that's why I stay in. I am willing to risk Skarmory getting weakened, as I obviously still have Healable in the back, and I can just heal off against something like Escavalier, something like Suicune, something like Crobat, so I'm really not worried that my Skarmory is going to drop anytime soon. So yeah, that's why I stay in. He turns out he goes for the Fire Punch, expecting me to switch in Scissor, which is nice for me, because that means that I take even less damage. And he goes into his Suicune to try to revenge me. I guess this was his best thing to, well, yeah, kill me with. I mean, it doesn't beat Skarmory 1-on-1, but it was his best thing, and it already shows that he kind of maybe lacked the preparation for my core. He doesn't have Malawada, as you can see in his team, which was a problem for me last time. This time around, he really lacks the wall breaking powers to deal with my core and my, well, yeah, offense. So my support is fantastic, and that means that I can just freely go for my shenanigans. And as you can see, my Manaphy goes for the shenanigans, going for the Heal Bell, going for the Reflect, unfortunately getting knocked off, so the Light Skin wouldn't have stayed up as long. But I decided to go for the U-turn on the Crobat. This was actually a very crucial play, because he was in with his Escavalier going for the knockoff, and the turn afterwards he switches out. He probably wants to go into Crobat to get rid of the hazards, to get rid of the screens as fast as possible, to give him some kind of a fighting chance. However, I go for the U-turn. He probably expected me to go for like a Scald, and he's probably pretty bulky Crobat. And he would have been able to wake up potentially, but like I said, I went for the U-turn, giving me momentum, and since he went into Crobat, I can go to Alakazam. If he does wake up, it's not the worst thing. I probably get knocked out into my focuses as he U-turns out, but I can put in the work, and the only thing that can really revenge me was his Crobat. But I still have a lot of backup checks in the back of my team, and yeah, you know, stuff and shit. But he doesn't wake up. Very unfortunate for him, because that actually seals the deal for me. His Crobat dies. His Escavalier cannot live the Hidden Power Fire. He probably banked on me not running Hidden Power Fire, or maybe doing Miscalking or something, because it does 54% min to an Assault Vest. So he kind of sacked his Escavalier, but it didn't really matter since he didn't have a fighting chance anyway. I could have probably Twit KO'd. His Scalds from a Suicune don't nearly do enough damage to KO Alakazam. It's like a 4-hit KO, so I could have potentially stayed in and just went for the Psychics repeatedly with Alakazam. But I make the safer play, go into my counter to the Suicune and go to Venusaur, and just continue to go for Giga Drains and actually seal up the game that way. As Dirty Gun was the only thing that could take the Giga Drains. But since he switches it in, he cannot take 2, and I outspeed, so that's a dead Dirty Gun. His Mega Dance comes in right here. He carries the Psychic, which he did last time as well. But Venusaur is very, very bulky, and it doesn't take any damage from the Psychic, basically. Especially since I can heal off a lot of the damage. And last but not least, it's Suicune, and Suicune is not going to beat the Venusaur 1v1. So that's going to be the 6-0 win for me versus Pierre. Which is fantastic, because he beat me round 1 in the GPC in the pre-season, well, in the regular season, and this time around I beat him. And I beat him 6-0, he beat me 3-0, so I am in the plus differential for season 3 matchups wise, and yeah, that's great. This was the game how it should have been played out in the first round as well, but yeah, if you remember, and like I probably stated in the pre-talk thingy, I took the game away massively. I wasn't there mentally. That sounds really strange, but you get the point. Lucky for me, I was on my game this time around and could easily beat my opponent here. I think his team lacked a little bit of preparation. He did have a few sets that I was really afraid of. But since he didn't bring something like Celebi or Meloetta, I think he lacked the power to break my team. Since those two were the only things that could effectively break the Skarmory Venusaur core. As Electabuzz is basically just not powerful enough unless it runs like the Life or Choice Specs item. Diancie, as you can see, it wouldn't have even done enough to a Venusaur, and Skarmory is just a hard counter to it. So even a hit Power Fire to a Spitter Skarmory isn't gonna do enough to where it breaks the core between Venusaur and Skarmory. So yeah. And Crobat, potentially if Crobat would have been Heatwave, maybe Nest Blood even, I could have done some work, but yeah, luckily for me it didn't turn out to be that set. So yeah, he didn't have the proper ways of dealing with my core, which meant for me to be able to, that's my bad, sorry, that's Skype, but that meant that I had a lot of free leeway type of, well yeah, I could basically switch out my whole core against his team and not worry about losing them anytime soon. And even if I lost them, I still had my offense in the back, and yes, even dual screen penalty, which could have saved the game. And yeah, anyhow, links to Pierre will be in the description down below. He's the people's champion, so give him some support. He got out-hexed in the playoffs twice, both against Merc and against Matt. Luckily for me, I don't think I hexed him a lot in this time around. So maybe the second Sleep turn on Crobat would be the only type of hex I can basically recall. But yeah, check him out in the description down below. He's an OG like me. He was there in season 1, he was there in season 2, season 3, and he's gonna be back in season 4. So make sure to show him some support. And yeah, I will see you next time. I will be beating Yuzi and Shari hopefully in the one of the next few videos. And yeah, for now, hope you liked the video. If you do, then please support me by clicking the like button, and show it up by commenting down below if you think I played correctly or if you would have made a different play somewhere along the lines. And for now, goodbye and have a nice day.